Hey guys, welcome to the Lab Girl Live. What is up, you guys? Happy Sunday. And if you clicked on this live, this is becoming a Histotech. I hope you guys are doing good today. Happy Sunday. And I wanted to come live today because we're going to discuss becoming a Histotech. We all have different journeys whenever we are thinking about becoming a Histotech, or like I told you guys before in our last live, what are your reasons for becoming a Histotech? So we're going to just touch on a few things, what I feel is important in any Histotech journey, even in my journey currently today. So we'll get started in a few minutes. I'm just going to make sure I got everything together for you guys. And I hope you guys, once again, are having a good Sunday. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just get my notes. And also, too, we're going to actually have a Q&A a little bit later. More so of me just probably choosing two questions to feature in this Q&A, but that'll be at the end of the Q&A. And it looks like I got everything together. Let me just make sure. All right, so if you guys are watching this on the replay, make sure you post replay fam down in the comments below, so I can know you watch this on the replay. And if you are here live with me, the Lab Girl, thank you so much for being here today and live with me today. So we're just going to talk about becoming a Histotech. What are some key things to know if you are on your journey of becoming a Histotech? These are some things that I even, live by myself, because even though I'm a current Histotech, I am still currently growing. And that's why I encourage you guys to make sure that you guys know that you are constantly going to grow, you're constantly going to learn, and you're constantly going to come up against some issues in the lab, and every day will not be a good day. So let's see here. The first thing let's talk about is you focusing on Frida Carson. Now, this is particularly for the new Histotechs. If you are currently in school, or you just graduated, or you studying for the ASCP, this is like the most common question. How do I study Frida? How do I pass the ASCP? You guys, you guys know that I have a lot of videos on my playlist, how to pass the ASCP, last minute tips for passing the ASCP. But I still constantly get questions on what to study when it comes to the ASCP, and what to study. You want to study everything when it comes to the ASCP. So let's talk about Frida, and what you guys need to make sure that you focus on whenever you are studying Frida Carson, your mom. That's what I reference Frida as, your mom. So this is your mom, of course. And what you definitely want to focus on is everything in this book. If you guys are not currently working in a lab, and you are done with your clinicals, or you're currently in your clinicals, and you like I said before, you have that gap between clinicals and studying for the ACP, I would definitely tell you guys to focus on studying, because a lab job will be there. You're going to have a histology job. Histology jobs are competitive, but they are definitely around. It's not like you're going to get a career in histology and you're going to be thinking like, man, like, am I ever going to get a job, or it's hard to find a job? You will definitely get a job. So whenever you're in school, I'm going to tell you guys, make sure you study and focus on what you're learning currently, because once you get to a histology lab, everything is pretty much hands-on. Everything is pretty much repetitive. So if you are a student, you want to focus on Frida, focus on Frida. Okay, so what should you study and how to study? Now, this live will not be about what you should study and how to study, because that would be a more in-depth live, and that's going to be more than probably, I would actually have to probably break different topics down when it comes to the live, whenever it comes to studying. But let's just go ahead and get Frida. You want to make sure that you have certain study materials to where you're not studying more than enough. So let me just put this here. So studying Frida and studying the workbook. So studying Frida and the workbook. Okay. So studying Frida and the workbook. The main materials that I would tell you guys to study, like I tell you in every video, and this is what I've used to study, but some people like to over prepare when it comes to studying. So the main materials that I used was Frida Carson, the textbook, and also I used the study guide, and also I did some questions through ASCP, where you can actually pay for a series of questions, and you can take that for, I think, a span of like 60 days, and you can just take those over and over again as you're studying. That way you can get familiar with what type of questions that they're going to answer or that they're going to ask. Now, what I do want to tell you guys, that whenever it comes to Frida, it doesn't matter what she asks you in the textbook, it doesn't matter what she asks you in the study guide, and it does not matter what she asks you in these little pop questions or whoever did the pop questions, because the goal is to make sure that you are able to ask, the goal is to make sure you're able to answer the question in random ways. Let me cut my phone off. So that's the goal, making sure that you can answer the question. If they ask that question in a different way 3 times, you should still know the answer to that question. So what should you study in Frida? So that's the first headline. Everything. I'm talking about read the whole book. And it's kind of crazy because hindsight, I didn't know that I should have been reading just say immunos, or I don't think I should have, or I wasn't thinking in school maybe I should read about enzyme histochemistry. And that's crazy because now I'm actually learning enzyme histochemistry. So I'm going to tell you guys everything that I didn't do, I want you guys to do, because I had to literally learn as I went. So when it comes to Frida, study every chapter. And let me just open up the book. So if you guys have your books, then I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean. And like I said, go on my playlist, and if you go on my playlist, then you guys will see that I talk about how to break down the chapters and what to study. But at the beginning of every chapter, hold on. I feel like y'all teacher for real, holding up the book like we're in 2nd grade. So in the beginning of every chapter, it's going to be, these questions. And whenever you see these questions, you guys answer these questions, because this is the only way you're honestly going to be able to understand each chapter and exactly, what it means. Simple things like define autolysis, fixation, artifact, pigment, non-aqueous fixative, coagulating fixative, additive fixative, hypertonic, isotonic. Define the purpose of fixation. These questions that they're going to be asking you, number 1, they will be on the exam. Number 2, it's crazy because these same questions that they're asking you in the front of these chapters, they're going to actually be in the study book, the purple study book, the workbook that I got, or whatever workbook that you guys have. And also it will be on the test. So you studying each question and breaking down Frida and breaking down each chapter, autolysis, putrefaction, each fixative and what it does. So for instance, in histology, normally we fix things in formalin. But when I am working in neuropath, we're fixing things post-fixative glutathione. So this is what I'm talking about. Like even though you read about certain things in these chapters and you're only studying this for the ASCP, if you are going to be growing and learning new things in the lab, these things will now seem to play a part whenever you actually start to study and do things in the lab. So read each chapter and take your time. That's the number one thing, taking your time. Taking your time on each chapter is very, very important. And whenever you are studying fixation, then I want you to do this. You're going to get your workbook. So after you're done doing fixation, you're literally going to get your workbook and just say if you're talking about B5 or mercuric chloride or what's in each fixative, I would tell you to go in your workbook. And then what I would do is I would tell you to find each question that pertains to that question that's in the ASCP. So for instance, what I did was if I was trying to figure out or learn what is in each fixative, because you're going to have to remember what's in each fixative. And I'm not going to stay too long on studying because I'll do a dedicated video to how to study for the ASCP. But just say in this case right here, it says in a certain project, it is important to use a fixative that contains acetic acid yet stabilizes erythrocytes membranes. One fixative that could be used is Zinker's, Bowen, Gender, or Holland. So the main important thing about that question is RBCs, which is the erythrocytes. And you want to know exactly what fixative can be used to fix something that can stabilize the RBCs. So if you look in your actual book, then you want to make sure that you know everything that's in Zinker's. Make sure you know everything that's in Bowen's. Make sure you know everything that's in Gender, and make sure you know everything that's in Holland. It is going to be pretty hard. I'm not even going to lie. It's going to be pretty hard for you to remember all of these fixatives. And then when you get in the lab, you're only going to be using like, 2 or 3 of them, right? But it's important for you to write down each fixative and then write down what's inside of each fixative. And what I would tell you to do is figure out what is good for. So one, lysis RBCs. One, you probably don't want to use something for fat because it dissolves fat. I think Gender and Holland, whenever you look in the ASCP book, those two normally like go together. So you can think of something like that. Try to get certain things that are inside of your fixation. So if you look and see what's inside Bowen's. So let me look and see what's inside Bowen's. And then you can like do like little keywords so that way you can remember, okay, if they have a question about Bowen's and you want to know what's inside of Bowen's, you can remember that keyword for Bowen's. So let me see if I can find Bowen's real quick. Okay, so these are just like some notes that I got here. So let me just try to give you guys a example. Let me give you guys an example. Hold on one moment. Okay, so for glutaraldehyde, remember when I told you guys I'm now using glutaraldehyde to fix muscle tissue, right? So it says glutaraldehyde is most frequently used in fixation of specimens for EM, and that's what we actually cut a slither of a piece for EM. It preserves ultrastructure, the best of any aldehydes. It tends to overharden tissue, so fixation should not be prolonged. Usually 2 hours or less in glutaraldehyde is recommended for fixation, and then the tissue should be transferred into a buffer solution for holding. Now, if you get a question on glutaraldehyde, make sure you know because of its poor penetration and overhardening properties, glutaraldehyde has not found a wide acceptance of fixative for light microscopy. Let me just give you also to another. Let me go to Bowens. Hold on one moment. Okay, and in fixation, like I got mercuric chloride. Mercuric chloride is good for bone marrows. And also mercuric pigment can happen, mercury pigment. So I'm trying to tell you guys, breaking down this book can be very, very tedious. So for instance, whenever you're learning the pigments that can happen during fixation, mercuric pigment is one of them. And then you want to also think of mercuric chloride, and you want to know that mercuric chloride is good for fixing bone marrows. A fixation pigment produced by mercury is one that cannot be prevented but can be removed. And you want to make sure that you understand like how you can remove any mercury pigment. So also, too, things that are non-coagulant, things are coagulant. So for mercuric chloride, I put bone marrow, mercury pigment, and coagulant. So those are three things I know that has to do with mercury or mercuric chloride fixative. And treating the sections, you want to know how to treat the sections if you do get mercuric or the mercury pigment. And also, too, you want to see what fixative has mercuric chloride in it, and I think it's zinker. So let me double check. Okay, so mercuric chloride is actually in a B5. It's a good fixer for lymph nodes and bone marrow. So if it has mercuric chloride and you're fixing a bone marrow or you're fixing lymph node, then that means that you can also get that pigment. So whenever you're reading this book, you definitely want to make sure that you break down every single thing that can happen with that one fixative. So really, really important when studying for Frida and what to study. Again, with every chapter that you're going with, make sure that you are leading with that chapter, not going to the next chapter until you are done with that chapter. So if you're focusing on fixation, go to fixation questions, and then whenever you feel comfortable, then you can go ahead and go to your next chapter. That's what I suggest, and give yourself plenty of time to study. All right, so that's the first thing about becoming a histotech. You want to make sure that you're taking your time, studying what you need to study, focusing on Frida Carson and the study book. Okay, the second thing is learning the basics. Learning the basics is very, very important. So let me go ahead and put that up. Learning the basics as a new histotech. Okay, learning the basics as a new histotech. All right, so learning the basics, what does that mean? Learning the basics is embedding, cutting, H&E. Those are like the three basic things that you need to make sure that you learn whenever it comes to being a histotech and whenever it comes to growing as a histotech. One thing I can appreciate about being a traveler, whenever I was a traveler, is normally whenever they hire you for a position as a traveler, you are constantly embedding and constantly cutting, which is actually a good thing. And if you are in your lab classes, and you're probably doing H&E manually, so that's also another good thing whenever you are studying for the test. You guys see, am I sweating? Y'all, this is what happens when you live in California and you don't got no flipping AC. See, this is what happens. I'm trying to give you guys a live and I'm sweating. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So focusing on your the basic skills, H&E, focusing on your embedding, focus on your cutting. We tend to want to do more, and I know sometimes, it can become repetitive doing just cutting all day, just embedding all day. And sometimes I get asked, by new people, like, what's your favorite thing to do? And I wish I can honestly say, oh, embedding is my favorite, or I wish I can honestly say cutting is my favorite. But I would probably say special stains would be my favorite. And now that I'm learning neuropath, I say neuro is my favorite, only because even though it's something harder than just embedding and cutting, it just allows me to think outside the box, and it's allowing me to, do more things. But it sucks too, because whenever I am embedding, I'll be sitting there like, dang, I really do miss embedding, but after a while it gets a little, you just hunch down and embedding, you're embedding the same type of pieces. But as a new student, I definitely want to encourage you guys to want to embed more, get good at embedding, want to cut more, get good at cutting. That's like truly like the basics of histology, and learning, what's in the H&E line. Now, each H&E line is pretty much standard, but just one or two things probably can differ. But when it comes to H&E, you guys are probably doing H&E manual at the lab, which is awesome, because everywhere you go, it would not be a automatic stainer to do your H&E. So just learn to do it by hand is very, very good. So focusing on embedding, cutting, and H&E, definitely important. And if you guys, once again, are watching this on the replay, welcome to the live. Make sure you put replay fam down in the comments below, and we would love for you guys to join the community and join the gang. So let's see here. The next thing would be becoming a histotech will be patient care. Patient care. Errors and quality slides. Asking for help. We're going to get to that. So let me go ahead and put that up. One moment. Let's see here. So we're going to do asking for help. Errors and quality slides. Asking for help, errors, and quality slides. This is really important because patient care is definitely the goal when it comes to a histology lab. Because if it was you having a biopsy, I know we hear this like all the time, maybe in our team meetings, or whenever we're about to get the job, or whenever we're trying to get the job, and we say, what, maybe I've had a biopsy before, and I will want my family's biopsy or my biopsy to be taken care of whenever it comes to the lab. Or if you are a histotech, and each biopsy should be treated with care, and patient care is truly important. So as a new histotech, or you're becoming a histotech, that's what you definitely want to keep in the front of your mind. And what I mean by that is basically like taking your time on each case, taking your time on each biopsy, and not meaning like just being slow, but sometimes we can get in the habit of trying to compare ourselves with other histotechs, and maybe they cut faster than you, maybe they embed faster than you, or but that's not really what we're there for. We're actually there to make sure that that patient has a quality biopsy, number one, because that could possibly be the only tissue that we have for that patient, or you mislabeling a slide, or the block getting, the block being lost, or just anything that can make patient care not 100% is very important. So if you're going to become a histotech, that's truly what it's about. It's not about me, you, or other, the lab techs, or anybody else. It's really about that patient, and that patient having the best, their biopsy being taken care of the best way possible, for the facility that you work for. Because at the end of the day, if something isn't done right, then that falls back on not only you, but it falls back on the lab. So patient care is definitely important when it comes to that. And one moment, y'all. Okay, so y'all, please forgive me. My live is like all over the place today. I am so sorry. Last week my live was on point. Today I feel like I'm just like all over the place, and I am so sorry. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Patient care. So patient care is definitely important in that regards, because you only get one patient biopsy. So if you don't have the answer to something, or if you need to ask a question, or if you're new and you're sitting there, you're thinking like, oh man, like I don't want to sound stupid, because I want to let you guys know, to this day, I may ask a question and then just say, someone can probably think like, oh, you don't know that, or you're supposed to know that. Like, please don't assume that I know anything, because today I can know something, but like next week, maybe what if I forgot it? Like, life happens. So what if I need a reminder? And I'm always going to ask a question. I would rather ask a question and then, mess something up. And then the first thing someone's going to say is, well, why didn't you ask? So I never want anyone to assume that I know anything. And also too, you don't want to make that assumption that, someone knows anything or knows everything, because we don't know everything, of course. So if you have a question, make sure that you're asking, which is really important, because we only get that one biopsy. Okay, I talked about errors real quick. Becoming a histotech, keep your errors to a minimal. I don't know how many labs you guys have worked at, if you ever worked at a lab, and I done messed up a couple things, but I just need for you guys to understand that keeping your errors to a minimal is really, really, really important. One, because you're going to be held accountable for any error, and there's really no excuses. They didn't get enough rest last night, and I have a lot on my mind, and those may be true things, but if your errors continue to be continuous, then unfortunately, that's not good for patient care either. So keep your errors to a minimum. While you are still in your learning phase, I do have a video talking about take advantage of your learning stage. Do not get too comfortable. Once again, and people say to you, oh, you got it. Don't worry. You understand. You got it. And then you feel that pressure to actually have it, because sometimes people won't allow you to be new. And as a new histotech, and this is something new for you guys, allow yourself that grace period to be new. Allow yourself to not to get too comfortable, because I see the most comfortable list, if that's a word. I see the most comfortable histotechs mess up all the time. And if my homie isn't here, and if my homie watches this, she knows who we're talking about. It'd be plenty of histotechs who mess up, and they've been, all the time, but they're so critical of other people when they mess up. So just be on your P's and Q's. Just make sure that you are on your P's and Q's. So asking for help, errors, and quality slides is very, very important. Okay, so my final recommendation. Let me go ahead and put my final recommendation. Is what you guys think my final recommendations is? Let me see. My final recommendation is staying positive. It's hard to do. I know. It's hard to do. Staying positive will be my final recommendation. This is not going to be a story time, but this is going to be some real shit. So all these videos that I make for you guys is because it's helping to prepare you for when it, for you becoming a histologist or having a histology career. But what I do tend to make sure that I don't focus on is sometimes the negativity that happens in histology labs. I try to make sure I don't focus on all of the cons that make me want to say, you know what, forget this. Because I know it's for a greater purpose, and I know, I love what I do. But just like in any job, there's going to be some people who will not make your life at the lab as pleasurable as you may want it to be. So with that being said, is staying positive even through the most negative times. Okay, so for instance, for you may be on top of the world one day, you're like, what, it's a good day, I done had a good day today, and then some negativity can arise, or maybe the next day you're making mistakes, you mislabel a slide, or you misfile a block, or there's drama or gossip or nothing that's really going to be productive for your day. So I don't want to end on a low note, but I do want to keep it real and let you guys know that all histologists are not nice. They can be annoying. But I know that's just people, but everyone's not gonna be kumbaya in your work area. So it's up to you to be able to learn how to filter that out, especially as a new histotech, and just be able to speak up for yourself if you need to speak up for yourself. Being able to work with a team, even if you guys may not get along, but it don't take everything so personal, but just make sure that you contribute to the team dynamic, because at the end of the day, it's not about me or you, it's about the patient. So with that being said, be positive even on the days where you like, fuck, I suck, you know what I'm saying, or like, damn, like I made a mistake, and we all have those days. But if you can start your day over again whenever you come in the next day, that's a brand new day. And don't always think the worst of the worst whenever you do, mess up or have a bad day, because most of the things in the lab are fixable. And if you didn't lose a block, if you didn't, cut the rest of the patient's tissue to where we can't, get another sample from it, if you did not just mistreat or mishandle something, or purposely be rude to your coworker, or purposely just went off, then or whatever, whenever it comes to patient care, like most of the things can be fixed. So just know that you're not going to have a good day in the lab all the time, and this is a really hard job, But at the end of the day, it is rewarding and it's a great career. But it's only hard because we have someone else's life in our hands. So that's what makes it hard. But as far as the actual field of histology, is actually a pretty great field and a pretty good job if you love what you do and you're not just in it for the wrong reasons, but you're actually in it to be positive and to give back, and just to build our community and build each other up instead of being so competitive and tearing each other down and try to get to the next level, because that's not how we should be as other histotechs. So we should be as a team. But yeah, so I just want to end on that note. Make sure you stay positive. Make sure you know that you're going to have those crappy ass days. You're going to make mistakes, but you never want to just stay in those mistakes, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you've been a histotech for 5, 10, 15, 25 years. You're constantly are going to make a mistake. And don't ever think that someone who's been a histotech longer than you, they may know more things, of course, but just don't ever think that you need to feel like you're not good enough, because sometimes you can feel that way, especially when people who know it all, or people who have been in the lab since Jesus was a baby. So sometimes you can feel like, damn, like, am I good enough? But I never want you guys to feel that way. That's why I create this community. That's why I try to uplift other histotechs, and uplift anyone who wants to be a histotech. And that's the reason why I create this channel, and because I did that because I used to be you. So just know, period, you got this. All right, so my live was kind of crazy earlier, so it looks like I'm getting it together now. I will be getting it together at the end, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and do some comments. Let me see if we got some Q&As. And once again, if you guys are watching me now, happy Sunday. Thank you so much for joining the lab, girl. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you like this live. Thumbs up this live if you're watching it on the replay and you find value out of this. I'm thinking that my normal time for my lives may be Sundays at 3. But every time I be wanting to go live with you guys, I swear to God, like, it always be the most randomest stuff that tries to prevent me. And I'm like doing everything like at the last minute. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get a question. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so I got a comment from a subscriber, and he said, thank you for putting together another great video. I feel like I can successfully pursue a histology career with your expert guidance. Replay fam. So that was from my last video, and thank you so much for watching my videos and supporting me and the gang. I really appreciate it. Oh, let me see, y'all. Hold on, I got some comments. I'm so sorry. So I hope you're still in here, Jocelyn. Okay, you guys know I'm still learning this. So virtual hug to you too, Exo Angelic. Okay, and thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad you guys are actually, streaming this with me. Okay, Jocelyn, if you're still in here, thank you for joining the live. She says, I'm currently studying for my exam and it's overwhelming. Girl, I know. Listen, I know, and I'm not even studying for it anymore, so I know how overwhelming that is. Claudine, hey Claudine, we all make mistakes. That's how we learn. That's true. And I think I was just talking to you about you just message me about the travel, the recruiter, if you're thinking about becoming a recruiter, if you're thinking about traveling. So let me go to your message real quick. Hold on one moment. So Claudine reached out to me. Let me make sure I got my facts right. Okay, so Claudine said, just an hour ago, she said, I'm a histotechnician in San Diego. What city are you in? Claudine, I'm in the Bay Area, and you're in San Diego. I can't wait to visit San Diego. I live in California, and I still have not been in San Diego, but I think there was a job. What's the name of that hospital? I forgot, but there was a lab job I had interviewed for whenever I was a traveler, and I was going to take the job, but it was third shift, and I cannot work third shift. Okay, so Claudine, thank you, Claudine. Hey, Jocelyn. Pam Barker, and you guys take this information down because if you guys are looking to travel, and especially like if you are looking to be a travel histologist, you guys know that I swear by traveling because it is probably one of the best experience that I had as a traveler, one of the best. And you just feel free. You can work for yourself. It's like working for yourself. But Claudine wanted me to let you guys know that Pam Barker at RELIA at earthlink.net. So if you're looking for a really good travel recruiter, then hit Pam Barker up. Thank you, Claudine, for the information. That's what's good about being in this community because we don't have this, we're like, if you guys are like me, you stumbled across histology, or we just don't have that. We need to build this community. So I really appreciate you guys for joining my live and posting information. That's really, really important. So Pam Barker at RELIA at earthlink.net. So you guys make sure you take that down if you're looking to travel. And Claudine says she helped me get my last job. Sharp. I think that may be it, Claudine. They pay between 30 and 40 an hour. Listen, that's what I'm talking about. And plus, California pays really good. It may be Sharp. I think that could be it. But yeah, I wanted to work in San Diego, but I was just a little nervous not nervous, but I was sad because I'm thinking to myself, like, I can't go to San Diego on a travel assignment, work third shift, and then I'm sleeping all day long. And I wouldn't be able to enjoy San Diego. So I didn't take it, but I don't like nights. But $30, $40 an hour, you guys definitely hit up that recruiter or travel to California because you can make some really good money. Okay, Jocelyn says, I've been applying for jobs recently, hoping an employer would give me a chance, even though I'm freshly graduated and new. Okay, Jocelyn, you will get a chance. Do not worry about it because let me tell you a story about what I did. Whenever I had graduated and whenever I had actually took the ASCP. But Jocelyn, what state are you in first? Oh, okay, Claudine, I'll let them know. You're not a traveler. She'll help you get permanent. She's not just a travel recruiter. She'll help you get permanent jobs. Yeah. Okay, I'll definitely let them know because that is true. Because you can do travel histology and you can do permanent jobs. And I don't think I never really told you guys that. So if you're looking for a permanent job, then that's how you can get permanent jobs too, Jocelyn. So if you're looking for a job and you will get a job, Jocelyn. What I did was that's why I told you guys in my last live, you definitely want to go in and you don't want to compare yourself because you are a new graduate. That's actually a really good thing because you want to make sure you let them know why they should give you a chance. Don't get in your head because you are there to soak up everything. That's the goal. You're there to soak up everything. Now, whenever it comes to these recruiters, you can go on the website. Like I worked for AMN, so just look up different recruiter for histology, and whenever you go on their on their actual website, it'll tell you if they're looking for permanent jobs. It'll tell you you're looking for a travel job. So she's actually Claudine is absolutely right. It's not just for travel. They can get you permanent jobs too in your state. So go online and look up travel histology, or look up histology companies. And I know I did AMN. There's Club Staffing. There's Comp Health. There's a lot of different companies that offer jobs, and they can get you a permanent job. So I really appreciate it, Claudine, for letting me know that. And Claudine said they're hiring right now. So Jocelyn, I don't know what state that you're in. You in Texas? Okay, girl, Texas is right next door. But I did have I got a friend who worked at a lab in Texas. I think it was in Houston. But it doesn't matter. Like, if you was to go online right now and look whatever city that you're in Houston or Dallas or wherever city that you're in Texas, just look and see what histology jobs are hiring, because you can work at Quest. Quest has a histology lab. And like I said before, even if you want to be a traveler, you can literally, well, I would tell you to be permanent first, at least get your experience in. But just go on to one of those recruiting websites. So CompHealth, let me see, AMN. There's a lot of different companies. And whenever you go to Indeed, just put in your city and put in histology jobs. Or contact a recruiter, because they can get you a job. Or you may not even think you want to travel, or you may not think you want to be permanent in another state. You just never know. But don't give up, because if the area is too oversaturated, like Florida was with histotechs and histotech students, you may want to branch out, maybe go to a smaller lab. Like me, I worked in a dermatology lab, so there's specialty labs that you can actually apply for. So maybe there's some derm labs around you. It don't always have to be a lab in a hospital. So try to look for maybe some dermatology labs. Try to look for, just make sure you contact a recruiter, just because they can definitely help you get a job. So do not be discouraged. But California is next door. But if you live in Texas, you don't want these taxes. And Claudine said they're hiring right now. So that's actually a good thing. Listen, if I didn't have no job, I'd be going down there. Jocelyn, don't worry about it. You're going to find a job. Like, we're going to put that into the air. You're going to find a job. Most definitely. I really appreciate you guys, because it's going to be people watching this live on the replay, and they're going to be looking for a job. And I really appreciate it that you guys are putting this good information. And there's a lot of people like you who are going to be looking for jobs, who are going to be trying to find their first job. And like I was going to tell you guys, whenever I was looking for a job, I was just trying to find a job anywhere. I drove 2 hours away from my first job, by the way. So sometimes you're going to have to make that sacrifice and drive pretty far, to get your next job. So I really appreciate you guys joining the live today. I appreciate you guys giving these helpful tips for the next people who watch this live on the replay. If you guys find this live helpful, make sure that you thumbs up this live. Let YouTube know that you enjoyed this live. And thank you for joining the Lab Girl. I really appreciate it. I will see you guys hopefully next week at the same time, which is 3 p.m. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys later. Bye.